About 6 organizations, 7 noticed to the police that they're going to embark on a vehicle demonstration in the capital. I've got 2 of their representatives here, but before I tell you who they are, the groupings include Vehicle and Asset Dealers Association of Ghana, National Concerned Spare Parts Dealers Association, True Drivers Union, Concerned Drivers Association, the Ghana Committed Drivers Association, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, with the support of Jacob Osei-Yeboah, the independent presidential candidate 2012 and 2016 elections. So they're here with me in the studio. Duncan Amoah is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. He's here. Duncan, you're welcome.
Thank you, Gift.
And Jacob Osei-Yeboah as well. Mr. Osei-Yeboah, you're welcome. So what really are your demands before we get into the details of this BQ demonstration?
Gifty, we think that people are being unnecessarily overburdened. We think that the scope of Act 969 is not properly defined, and so it is serving more or less a negative purpose, okay, both to the Ghanaian and then businesses within the country, and we think that it immediately needs some reviewing or scrapping altogether. If you go to DVLA today, you will be amazed to see how many people are returning home with their vehicles when they come to do the normal roadworthy bit. Now the bit is, if your roads are not as good and you expect people to drive picantos, then I don't think that this levy is properly being well thought through or being well pushed. And so the pressure that is given to ordinary Ghanaians, including lecturers and some, civil servants that I have come across, we do not think that this policy should be allowed to stand. It needs to be reviewed immediately or totally scrapped. And
by Act 969, he's referring to the luxurious vehicle tax, which was imposed sometime last year, and it basically requires that if your vehicle's capacity is 3.5, I think 3.5 and above, then you get to pay
3.0 basically.
Is it 3.0?
2.99, so 3.0.
Okay, so from 3 upwards, so you get to pay that tax when you go to register your vehicle and when you go to do your roadworthy, etc. So you're asking that this be reviewed or totally scrapped. Why now?
Gifty, I think that for most policies you would need to do a bit of an impact assessment. One would have thought that the intended, the unintended consequences would be factored into the policy rollout. But if you look at the sort of impact it is having on both businesses and individuals, it tells you that whatever impact assessment, document or narrative is flawed completely.
What's the impact? If you talk about impact assessment, it suggests that you have done some assessment and you've seen that if people's lives were at this level before this tax was imposed, it is at this level now. What is the impact assessment result?
So, Gifty, what is happening now is you have a situation where these car dealers have gone to import vehicles. Of course, the Picantos are there. They've also imported the Highlanders and the others with the 3.0 engines, right? The state gets a very huge amount of taxes from these vehicles when they are imported.
Okay.
And so you look at the difference between the categories of cars. So whereas you may be paying about 6,000–7,000 for a Picanto's duty, you may be paying almost 60,000 to 120,000 for a cross-country vehicle, right? That means you will need to import at least 10 Picantos to just pay for the duty of one of these cross-country vehicles. So look at the opportunity cost therein. If the importers were doing just Picantos, right, to serve a population of 3 million car users in Ghana, the 3 million Picantos will probably generate about, let's say, 3 times 6. That's about 1.8 billion, right? If you are also doing cross-country mix with the Picantos, what it means is that if you are doing 80,000 averagely in duties for a cross-country vehicle, and you even do a quarter of what you have on the roads, 750,000, that alone is even more than enough to pay for all the Picantos you would have imported, if you are doing 3 million. And so the country stands to lose a substantial amount of revenue if this policy is pushed further. What I'm trying to say is this. if now you make the market so unfriendly for anyone to even bring in a Highlander, right? Such that he will pay more taxes at the port of clearing. And now people think that if I bring
they should go for the smaller
they
cars.
should go for the smaller cars. Alternatively, if Gifty was buying a bigger car to pay 80,000, the smaller car will pay 7,000.
And what's the evidence that that's an automatic response to the implementation of this? Because the fact that people are to pay anything extra will not necessarily, unless there is some kind of scientific evidence to prove, will not necessarily make them want to choose a smaller vehicle. There are people who want to.
Gifty, this policy was assented to 31st of July 2018. It's been in full force since August, right? Now, it's taken us about 3, 4, 5 months to come to this point.
Okay.
If you talk to those who import these vehicles, the scientific evidence is there that people now come around, they inspect the vehicles, and when they realize the engine is anything close to 2.930, they brand it Kenoforiata DNB. And so they will not buy at all. What it does mean is that if I imported that car in June or July, and I've not sold, can I bring another one?
Okay.
And
so your argument is that this is going to cost the government money because people are going to shift from buying bigger vehicles, which will bring the government revenue and buy smaller vehicles because which will not bring government the revenue. Mr. Osayeboa, why have you decided to be a part of it? Really, what is supposed to be the impact of your presence in this campaign?
You know, I'm a shadow president at this point in time.
Okay.
They normally call me Mobra president and as a consultant. And so various groups normally come to me, we normally have discussion. One of the things that I think we need to understand is that there's now a branding that we have a president that listens. But unfortunately, we don't have a government that listens. That is the irony. Because normally such groups might want to engage the government. And without avail, then most of them will come to me. One thing that I've realized is that this act, was enacted without due diligence being done by the government with the key stakeholders and the ramifications that is having on the economy and on the individuals. And normally when laws are passed, it's always important that it doesn't take retrospective effect on people. And that is why, as a case study, if we look at the RTI, you know that the government parliament says that it shall be implemented after 1 year. Okay.
Well, you mean the RTI?
The RTI,
right.
Yes. Sorry?
Which is the FTI?
No, the RTI.
RTI, the right to information. Right.
You see, so normally, whenever you are passing a law, you need to normally allow for gestation period before it's implemented. Other than that, you're going to destroy a lot of people and their businesses.
Okay.
My heart bleeding is about businesses that are being affected.
Okay, so you are being a part. You've decided to join this because you are looking out for businesses. Let's look at what is this document that I have here is actually addressed to the Regional Police Command. So what it means is that you've already given the police the notice. So has the police responded? Do you have the permission to go ahead with this?
Indeed, barring any unforeseen circumstances, it is expected that these vehicle dealers, the concerned drivers, committed drivers, COPEC, His Excellency here, and other well-meaning Ghanaians would naturally take to the streets on Tuesday, the 19th of February, to express our dissatisfaction with the sort of impact or effect that this policy is bringing to all of us. Like I indicated, you have even lecturers complaining because your roads are not even vehicle worthy. And so people are forced sometimes to have to go for certain kind of vehicle because where they live, if you give them a Picanto, they will have to go to a every week. Okay. And if you are now punishing them and not punishing them for 100 cities or 200 cities, some income that they could dispose of with, right? And you come to 10 million, 20 million and all of that, just for a year's, registration. His Excellency Jacob Osayeboa indicated that if you pass laws that take retrospective effect, right, normally the impact is very negative. If somebody is driving, let's say, a 1994 Nissan hardbody, right, a 3.2, I mean, diesel engine. That car today may not even worth 4,000 cedis or 40 million. And you say the person should go and pay 10 million every year to use the roads that are not even existing in those parts of the country.
I need to wrap up this conversation, but you need to give us a bit of the details for this demonstration. I asked whether or not it's been the police are okay with you, because sometimes even though you just have to give them the notice, they let you know if they have enough men to guide you. But you're looking to drive vehicles from the Obra Sports, Kwame Nkrumah Avenue to Foresco Traffic Light to TUC, and then to the Ministry of Finance, to Parliament. Has the police given you the go-ahead?
Yes, we've had discussions with the police. And
they are even happy. Yes, they said that they've done very well.
Okay, so I'll take your very final words, and in this final word, let me know whether or not exactly what you want, because you said it should be reviewed or scrapped completely. Exactly what you want. If you say reviewed, what to exactly what do you mean review? And make it brief for me. I don't know which of you wants to answer that, but let that be your final word.
See, they have a solution. If the government has consulted them, there is a solution.
What's the solution?
At this point in time, they intend not to put the solution across. And all what they wanted was just an engagement with the government. Else, I don't think that they could have come to this point. Okay. And that is what we want to hammer home. Okay. We need a government that listens. That's all.
Mr. Amoah.
So, Gifty, yes, if it will be reviewed, we are still asking questions. How did you arrive at 1,000 cedis? How did you arrive at 2,000 cedis? Right? Is there a way we can agree that instead of exempting the U-turn buses and the bigger trucks that even put much more pressure on the roads, right? We should rope in everybody and collect, say, 50 cedis across board.
Okay.
So we need a thorough discussion. We need, cool heads to prevail. But letters upon letters have been sent to authorities. No response, no feedback. And so you leave the people with a very final option as to go out there onto the streets to make their grievances now known.
So the group is saying that without any unforeseen challenges, they will be going ahead with this demonstration on the 19th of February, which is next Tuesday, and it's starting at the Obra Sports. They're driving the vehicles all the way to the Ministry of Finance, and I've been having this conversation with Jacob Osei-Yeboah. He's the independent presidential candidate for 2012 and 2016 elections, and also I had the executive secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, of course, Duncan Amoah, here talking about that. They said they have the police's blessing to go ahead with this demonstration. Thank you very much for coming, gentlemen.